everyone. Welcome to the Techegy podcast. This is episode number 11 of this fine and fantastic podcast that we've been putting on since like 2020 or 2019. I don't remember. It's been a while, and we're only on episode 11. We should probably do more episodes. As you may or may not know by now, we are a podcast that deals with the retro computing and gaming up to the vast landscape of the modern and futuristic. If at any time you kind of like what you're hearing and you don't absolutely hate it and detest it, and you just want to just hit stop and just throw your phone out the window of your car as you're driving to work, I feel bad for you if you're listening to this while you're driving to work. Geez, I can think of 1,000 other things I'd rather listen to. But if for some reason you really enjoy this, do me a favor. Climb to the top rope, the roof of your car, chair, whatever you might be close to, look down, and channel all of the energy of Mr. Poffo, the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Deliver the most hardcore elbow drop that you can on that like button. Ooh, yeah, brother. Ooh, yeah. Techegy podcast. Hey, we have a special guest here tonight. We have William Hicks, aka 8-Bit Milli, the man behind the fedora. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Too much. A reoccurring special guest.
Yeah, I think I need to memorize. You think I'd have this opening memorized? I trip myself up reading down through the sentences every time because I can't remember any of it. But I digress.
Wait till you get older.
I'm already there.
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm over 30. It's downhill.
There are video game systems older than you.
I have a few in my basement that are older than me. All right, good podcast, guys. Talk to you later.
All right.
All right, see you. So what are we here for? We're celebrating something. We're celebrating.
Yeah, we should have made a cake.
I thought about it. We're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the ColecoVision and also the Commodore 64.
The Commodore.
Also,
Commodore 64.
Also the Sinclair, the Spectrum.
The Sinclair?
The Spectrum came out in '82.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it did.
And the Timing Sinclair 1000 came out in '82.
What was are we at the 40th anniversary of JFK's assassination?
That's longer.
You know, I was watching Top Gun a couple days ago. My wife's never seen it. I was watching it.
I was sick. That was way longer. We're like 60 years.
The
Actually, next year.
Yeah, I was watching the
next year
original
will
Top
be
Gun.
60,
I was watching the original Top
60
Gun.
years. Yeah.
The original Top Gun. Hey, MC and his family and I watched the original Top Gun at my house the other weekend.
We did.
But let me give you this little bit of trivia here because I was watching it and during the little what was that in the court? It wasn't a court martial, but whatever the hearing was about after the plane crash and everything like that. Did you know Goose died 36 years ago last Friday? He died on July 29th, 1986.
I did not know that.
Yeah, 36 years ago last Friday, Goose died in a plane crash. Sad.
Rest in peace, Goose, man. Honk, honk. Honks up to Goose.
What only thing I knew is that they corrected, what was it, a grammar or spelling error? Because the new Top Gun looks like the beginning looks the same as the old one. And apparently they fixed the spelling or grammatical error in that opening with all the backstory about the best going
About Fighter Town.
Yeah, about Fighter Town. They apparently that's the only thing they changed was either a spelling error or grammar error that was in that.
When I was 20 years old, I worked at a pallet reconstruction company in San Diego. And I kid you not, I was 50 feet from Fighter Town. There's their fence. Here's our fence. There's the no man's land in between. I'm working all day watching the jets take off and fly above me and everything. It was loud.
Oh, I'm sure.
Especially when they'd like to take the B-52s and stuff out of there and the giant transports out. Those were loud.
So did you? So my son lives near the Air Force Base in Warner Robins, Georgia. And when he was getting his house, what I didn't realize is every seal on every one of his windows is broken.
Sonic.
We were talking to the house inspector. I'm like, can I, is this something I can fix? He's like, yeah. And then by a month or two, they're all going to be broken again. So it was something I didn't know. I've never Never heard that before.
Yeah, I used to hear them all the time. I lived right under the glide path of the incoming traffic for Lindbergh Field in San Diego for about 3 years. And I mean, right under it. Go, if you're in San Diego, downtown San Diego, it was down hills, and then Lindbergh Field is at the bottom at the harbor. And I lived on those hills, and I'm not lying. Those jets would be about 100 feet above me coming down. And the sounds they make, not the loud engines, but the airflow. They make noises like that going over it. It's so freaky sounding. You can hear the air flowing over the wing. You get used to it after a while, but it was freaky. You go outside and you just
I'm
watch
sure.
it over your head.
I live pretty close to like the wind turbines out here in Cleveland, and in the summer you can't hear them or anything, but in the winter, like the dead of night, all you hear is woof, woof, like miles away. You can hear
Mhm.
those things turning, and then you find a bunch of dead birds below
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So
It's a game. They try to get
It is a
through it,
game.
don't make it.
no, it's
But you just gotta think about it. That's
it's-
just free food. I mean, you
it's-
just go and collect them. They ain't gonna last too long. They hit the ground, you just collect them every morning.
Hey, Millie, that could be your next game.
What,
Yeah.
dodge the windmill?
No,
Cra-
go
cra-
through the propeller.
Like
Cra-
Pancho
crazy-
Villa with Pancho
crazy
Villa with
chicky
wings on it.
junior windmill edition.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Dutch edition. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, speaking of Dutch, actually, was Danny Dutch?
Yes. Wasn't he
Yeah.
Dutch?
Yeah, I just sent him some cartridges so he can test his Atom Plus thing.
I saw that. I'm hoping he does. He adds Odyssey and 5200. I'd love him to add 5200.
Yeah, I sent him a 7800 along with Crazy Chicken Jr. And I also sent him, because he wanted to test the Super Game Module for the ColecoVision. So I just sent him a Super Game Module test cartridge, which is a lot better than just a game.
Right.
You can just plug it in and we'll tell him immediately if it's working.
Well, he said the 2600 and the 7800 are the same cartridge, apparently.
Similar.
I thought the 7800 was closer to the 8-bits.
7800 has more pins.
Well, he said that he could make the same snap
Yeah.
for the,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, the design.
Yeah. Because the
To work with
7800 had an upgraded version of the connector from the 2600. The 5200, the cartridges were.
he said that one would have to be separate because
Yeah. No, you're right. That's absolutely right, because the 7800 can play 2600 games.
yeah.
So, and we were talking about the Atari Max. The Atari Max is the same way. You buy the 7800 one. So,
Yeah.
That's something that somebody needs to make more of for the ColecoVision. There is no more of them.
What's that?
The Atari Max.
Hmm.
Or
You
the
can still
ultimate-
get them.
The Ultimate SD, you can occasionally get them, but I can't find them for sale.
No, there's one on eBay for 129.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. On eBay, you can find them.
Yeah, well, that's about the going price for those because that's what I paid for mine.
yeah, the guy in Minnesota, there's a guy that licensed it in Minnesota called like Service something, but Millie, you should be able to go to AtariMax.com. He has them out there.
Yeah, I went on there, and they always, every time I look for the Coleco, it just says out of stock. I have to look for it.
Interesting.
I mean,
Yeah,
what
but
I'm trying to do is I just burn a ROM. and
Well,
then-
you know what?
Right.
Have you tried it, Atari Age? They might have it on Atari Age too.
I
Yeah.
avoid Atari Age.
Try the guy. There's a guy up on here. There's a guy up on eBay, and he's licensed because there was a whole thing that they were talking about it. But he's licensed to do them, and the label is just different, but it's the same stuff inside of it. I've got one of each. I bought one from the guy from the Steve, the guy that actually makes them, and then the other. But it's 129, and the seller is Quality Service. He licenses them. It's clean. And in fact, it's now exactly the same version. It says Atari Max on it.
There's another one. It's not the same thing. It's made similar to it called BitBlit.
I've seen that one. I
Yeah.
haven't done anything with it though.
She hasn't been able to get the chips to make any more. I've been waiting for her to get chips, and I'd buy one just to see how it works. Supposedly it works exactly the same.
I'd be interested on that one.
What was the name of it?
It's called BitBlit.
Yeah, he makes a bunch. Doesn't that bit one do a bunch of them for
Yeah,
other
a lot of it
systems?
different types. Yes,
Where can you find that?
I am looking for it right now.
We'll put that in the description of the
Yeah, let's see.
the
if I can-
podcast for everybody going, what are these people talking about?
Yeah.
Bitwit, right? Bitwit.
Bitwit,
Bitwarden.
kind of like
Hey,
nitwit,
John.
but bitwit.
Hey, John, speaking of Bitwarden, did you see it's now available for Raspberry Pi?
I did see that. That's awesome.
Is that it? No, that's. not
Keep
it.
expanding.
I'll
Totally
find
off
it. I
topic.
got it in here
Totally off
somewhere.
topic.
So we were going to talk about the ColecoVision, right?
Yeah, happy
Yeah.
40th birthday
Happy
to
40th.
ColecoVision.
Yay!
Yay!
40 years of ColecoVision. Look at JM's background. It's like
Yeah,
an
look at his
explosion
background.
of
Well, you know,
happiness for
Wait,
ColecoVision.
how long was it really of ColecoVision?
40 years.
2 years, 2 or 3 years, and then they were gone.
Oh, no, they were gone. So they came
Yeah.
out in 82 and
82.
the crash was 83 and it was discontinued in
85.
85.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they bugged out quick. So
But
I
it was
mean,
still, they were still selling units as far as like a few years later.
yeah, whatever they had left on the shelves, but yeah.
But as
Well,
far
they-
as
but-
production,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they sold it to Telegames, Telegames for a while. It was a Telegames,
Yeah,
Teletubbies.
Telegames.
not to be confused with Teletubbies.
Yeah,
It was
Teletubby games.
Telegames for a while, and then actually got some of those cartridges they re-released that looked like somebody just photocopied the
Yeah,
manuals and stuff. And those, and believe it or not, those are rare. If you got one of those, I got a jungle.
Yeah, they
hunt.
are.
I have a jungle hunt that way I got from someplace in Florida, and they said that they had bought out all the Telegames versions.
Well, how many games are there for the ColecoVision?
186,
How many?
186, I think.
Something like, yeah, I was gonna say 179, but yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it was like 186 original release games.
oh, is this ColecoVision only? Not the other one?
No, it's the third parties, including like Parker Brothers. And
400 of them. I don't know why.
no,
Well,
they
that-
never got that high.
No, not for the original, no. There might be that many now, Millie, but there weren't that many whenever it was just in production and
Yeah,
Oh,
And
okay. So
after-
yeah, the original. Okay, right, the original.
yeah, the original. There was. I'm curious. Now you got me real curious. How many games there was? List of ColecoVision games. Here we go. There was 129 were released in the U.S. market, so it was even less.
yeah.
Is that on top of like the 20 exclusive Atom games?
Adam's different.
Adam's completely different, yeah.
Yeah,
No. I get that. I just mean, are we counting
no.
those few exclusives now?
I thought there was more than there was 129 US releases, one very limited release, 7 Canadian releases, 9 Telgames releases, and 22 prototypes in that original run.
Yeah. But you know what though? The best thing about it right now into 40 years later is it's more fun to be a ColecoVision fan right now than it was back in the day, man. There's so much good stuff going on with the system.
Oh yeah.
Hold up. Who are
Thanks to
ColecoVision?
Millie and the other home brewers.
Who are ColecoVision
Um,
fans? Who are the fans?
Yeah.
What fans?
Fanboys.
Who?
I'll tell you, it's with the ColecoVision, you were the cool kid on the block back in the day, because everybody else had their Ataris or they had the Intellivisions, and the Intellivision had some good games. It was, and I didn't realize this, it was actually one of Millie's posts where somebody was saying, what were all the 8-bit game systems? And nobody said Intellivision. So I said Intellivision. Intellivision was actually a 16-bit system. I didn't know that.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that.
I did not know
No,
that
it
either.
It did not take advantage. Most of the games and the programmers
Mm-hmm.
did not take advantage of that due to the limited
Well,
technical
the thing,
knowledge. But
the thing that got, like, I started off with the 2600, and when I saw the graphics for the ColecoVision, I was blown away. It was like, and that is even better than the Intellivision in my opinion. I mean, they were just the arcade ports that they put onto the ColecoVision were like spot on.
Well, I remember getting magazines and looking at, Donkey Kong was coming out and there's some games coming out. My parents we're going to get an Atari VCS. We're going to get an Atari because we can get Pac-Man on it. And I'm like, no, Pac-Man looks like crap on that. It looks terrible.
It does.
Let's wait. There's this system coming out. Let's wait. It's got Donkey Kong. What's Donkey Kong? it's a monkey throwing a barrel. It looks like it's a lot of fun. I remember that. And my parents actually did wait. And I remember going, I still remember, because I lived in St. Paul, Minnesota, and it was fall of 82. I have two younger sisters and my mom. We all went down to Target because they did have Targets back then. But they were very limited to that area. I remember going down there. We got the ColecoVision. It was like 175. We got Smurf for one sister. We got Cosmic Avenger, and I got Zaxxon. And those were the three games that we got in addition to Donkey Kong. And I can tell you, for the next 2 nights, that's all we did. It was, and what my mom would do is she would wait for the kids to go to sleep, and she'd beat all our high scores. I mean, I swear to God, you'd be sounding, you'd be in your bed, you go, Mom's playing the ColecoVision, and you hear Donkey Kong jumping. Back in the day, she'd play Ladybug till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning just to beat our high scores, and she would take pictures of it and go get them developed to prove that she beat our high scores.
Nice.
Yeah. My mom was playing the games all night.
The thing too about the 2600, I have to give the programmers now a lot of credit, because a lot of the games I'm seeing coming out for the 2600, they're looking pretty good. They're looking real good. And so they're doing some amazing things with that system as well. But the Coleco is still, to me, it had graphically, it was just the better system,
Oh yeah.
Right.
John, did you buy the 2600 adapter back in the day?
Did I? I don't think I ever. No, because I didn't, because the games were so unappealing to me, because graphically they were just like, they looked like crap.
Yeah,
exactly. The programmers didn't know what they were doing with that system. And no, I never did. I had the super action controllers. I had the steering wheel, and I had the what did they call it? The expansion module 3 that turned it. I had the Atom. It was, they called it the expansion module 3, which was the Atom. So I had that, and my ColecoVision plugged into the Atom and turned it into a full-fledged computer. So
I never bought the 2600 one either, for exactly the reason you said. The game looked like crap. But if I'm going to spend, I was working at, by the time that system came out, I was working at McDonald's, and right across the street was a video game store, and I'd go across and I'd buy my games when I went home. So that's how we built up the library, so to speak. But I remember looking at there, you're going to get the 2600. No, I don't. It looks like crap. That's
and
that's not Pac-Man.
I mean, the Donkey Kong, that port was spot on. I mean, other than the intermissions not being there,
right?
In between. I think on the Atom one, the intermissions were there, weren't they?
They're there. Yeah, they're there.
Yeah, but on the cartridge it wasn't. But everything else was spot on with that.
I never did the Atom. I went to Apple. We never
did
the Atom.
You guys complain about the 2600. I had the Odyssey too. It's worse.
Oh, wow,
whoa.
Hey, at least it had a keyboard. I could play Hangman.
Hey,
I'm over here that I got to figure out how to use.
We got old. And later in high school, we would play Smurf drunk, the Smurf game drunk. And it's amazing how much fun that game was after a few beers. It was.
My friends and I in high school played Smurf drunk too, but we're not talking about the same Smurf.
Oh. This is definitely going to be that podcast.
Hey, I missed that at the last time. I'm just going to make it worse this time.
Well, you didn't say that Ted Kennedy used the turbo driving controller, so you're okay.
No, it's the Power Glove.
Anyway.
Boop, boop, boop.
Millie's going, did I really want to be on this one?
But I just think it's, I mean, I'm just tickled pink to be a CV fan in 2022, because it's just.
Well, that's how we met, guys. I mean, that's why I think it's really cool is,
That's
40,
absolutely
almost 40 years later, we've we've developed a friendship because of that. We've met, Millie here because of that. You just look at all the things that have happened because of a system that was only on the market a couple of years.
Right.
I mean, I didn't even get John JM introduced me into the ColecoVision. What was that? About 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and that's when I got mine. And I mean, I knew some of the games on there. Qbert is my favorite game in the world for that system. Zaxxon. Yeah, I knew the CV existed. I just never owned one. I grew up on the Super Nintendo, N64, PS1, stuff like that. So I'm like 20 years, 20 years out from everyone here. But it's one of those things, like I got one, and I sent it to Ruggers and had them do the work on it, and it came back. And I started buying games for it. And I know, like, JM, when he goes out and looks at games, he's always looking out for stuff that I need too. So I end up with like all these games for the ColecoVision, which they're all great. The ColecoVision is underappreciated, I think. Especially even just graphic wise, or even like with the music in the games, for that time period. It kind of, and I didn't grow up in that time period, but I think, looking back, and even now, obviously now the collector's market for CV has expanded, especially since the pandemic started. But
well, the prices on some of the rare games are getting pretty high.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. I'm missing one. I'm missing Wizard of Id Math.
yeah, we know.
Yeah. I know. The one game. Anybody gets it. Yeah. But it was $72 before the damn pandemic. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to pay that.
Hey,
for a
when you
math game.
You guys are all getting off cheap. I mean, I've only had mine for 3 days, my ColecoVision. So think of what I'm going to have to spend to get games.
Oh, just think of what you're going to have to spend to get Bump and Jump.
Yeah, I mean,
that one.
Hey, Mike, when you posted that about Wizard of Id, I'm like, we looked it up on price charting. I think it was like almost $300.
Yeah, no, it was more than that. It was like $425.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
we did.
like,
look
we're not
for it.
finding that here, and if we do, we're not buying it.
People are finding them. No, I mean, people are finding them in the wild.
yeah, you better start going to garage sales if you want that one.
No, but it's gonna show up. It's gonna show up in a place you wouldn't expect. I mean, I don't know how many games where I've gone into a game store, and because there was one here in North Carolina, I went in, they sold me 50 games out of this box for $2 each. And let's put it this way, there were some in there that Commando for the 7800 was in there, and that's one of those games that's up there.
Yeah.
I paid $2 for it. So there's gonna be people like that don't know what they have.
Yeah, they don't know what they have.
They don't know what they have. So I think it'll eventually show up, or somebody will get it, and I'll work some deal out. Because you never know. Like when we were talking, MC and I were chatting, is I was looking for something, and I found Jazz Jackrabbit for the PC, and somebody was selling it for $150 for the CD version of it. I'm going, I have that, and I have the 2 sequels in my drawer at the office that I was getting ready to throw in the CD recycle bin. So I put them up on eBay. Somebody bought them yesterday for $200. So I can almost afford Wizard of Id Math now.
I can't believe
Investments.
PC games are going for that price.
Yeah.
I was shocked, man. I was shocked. I mean, it made my wife happy because I just bought a bunch of stuff. So,
Chief of Finance.
yeah, it's my wife calls it the reallocation of resources. Millie's going, okay, this is.
Hey,
I'm Googling and eBaying.
you
You want an original Wizard of Id Math, or you just want a cartridge of Wiz Math?
I just want the cartridge. I don't need the whole thing. I just want the cartridge.
That it has to be original?
I'd prefer it to be original.
I make cartridges all the time.
I know you can make one. I may have you make one and have what's his name, Phil, do a label for me. I did that with Halloween for the 2600.
Yeah, you can always do that. And the label can just say reproduction on it. That way you got one you liked, and at the same time, you're not going to turn around and try to sell to somebody as a real one.
Right.
Hey,
I wouldn't do that anyways. That would be my relatives after I pass.
Hey,
Right.
Mike, there's a Wizard of Id Math for Atari for $631.
Well, there you go. You just gotta get the
There you go. Yeah.
Now we're
Atari,
talking
2600?
inflation.
Yeah. I mean, what's sad is I remember seeing those in the discount bin at Camelot Music in Valdosta, Georgia. I'm going, yeah, let's see. I'll buy the KTEL one, the 2 KTEL games. Slurpee. It was like $2.99, and what was the other one? It's Only Rock and Roll. I bought those 2 games. I thought they both sucked. When I got rid of my ColecoVision, I didn't have these games right here, just terrible. Turns out those are some of the ones I paid more money for to rebuy back in 3-4 years ago than I did. If I could do a time machine, I would have bought all of them at $2.99 and financed a car or something.
Fun fact, Slurpee is my girlfriend's nickname.
There we go. That's squishy.
Whoa.
Whoa, this has to be edited for sure.
But
I told you we're gonna get banned by the end of the year.
I'm working. Hey, if it gets banned, we have a reason to go rogue then. So
Well,
Yeah,
true.
I just yeah, it's
Is there a YouTube Underground?
yeah, it's called Rumble.
oh my gosh. Okay.
Anyway,
Well,
Anyways, no, hey, you know what? If you like what you're hearing, please click that like button below and leave a comment.
And even if you don't, click that button.
And even
below.
if you don't, spread the word. We're just
you hit the dislike button.
Yeah.
Dislikes help too.
yeah,
They
it's
do.
Funny thing about dislikes, and this is like touchy on a subject that I'm not going to go too deep in, but every video I post on my channel will get 2 dislikes within a half hour of it posted. There is somebody who doesn't like me.
which we can call for this broadcast the entity.
John and I are very sorry, Millie.
It is guaranteed to get 2 dislikes no matter what. What does Rick Ashley have coming out of it?
Hey, we've gone downhill.
He's
Might as well
busy
Rick-
growing up.
Oh man.
But yeah, guaranteed 2 dislikes. I watch. I open up YouTube Studio and I just sit there and watch it to see how long it takes before I get my dislikes.
Well, you know who one of them is.
Yeah,
I know
one of them,
who
yes.
both of them are because
Yeah. The
he has
entity.
2 accounts.
Yeah.
Which he can't post anything on my stuff because I bought it. He can see it and dislike it, which is
Oh,
fine.
he can't.
because
Oh,
YouTube
okay.
considers dislikes and likes the same thing. The more likes and dislikes you get, the higher you move up. So if you don't like
yeah.
Yeah, it almost doesn't matter.
Yeah, it
Surprisingly, your interview didn't get a whole lot of like trash like we thought it was gonna, but
Yeah.
MC did get banned.
Yeah, you
I've
got
been
banned.
banned.
You got banned from
I've been banned
There.
for my first post ever, and I got banned.
See, you wasn't towing the line. See,
So I
that's-
mean, I got a question for you though, Millie. Your release on Crazy Chicky Junior was a completely different release than what you have done in the past. You had, you had reviews by Chris and others come out, and the game was a lot of fun. It's I mean, I've always been a Pac-Man style game, maze, back even Ladybug, Mousetrap, those kind of games. I have not seen any negative reviews on the game this time around. Did you find because of the way you released it this time that it helped with sales and it helped with getting the rogue reviews like you were getting?
Oh yeah. I released it. The Crazy Chicky Junior had I realized, in just a slight divergence here, I call it Crazy Chicky Junior. I also call it Crazy Chicken Junior.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to catch myself. No, it's Chicky on the box, Bill. Correct yourself. But yeah, Crazy Chicky Junior. I wrote that game had exactly 100 copies made. I wasn't making one more or one less. It was 100 copies only. And as I said, for the first month, the only people who could get them were members of the Retro Gamers Club. Non-members couldn't get them. I shipped all those out, went out on Monday. So for 1 month's time period, the only people who could get this game to even make a review was a member.
Right.
So what happened is, and then with the review, Chris always does reviews, as he says all the time on.
Yeah, he does. He does a
think
good,
Chris-
he does a really, Chris does a
Yeah.
great job on
He's
those
reviewed my
reviews.
games, and he was a little harsh on Crazy Climber. And he asked me, he said, "Do you want me changes?" I said, "No. What you're saying is totally valid."
No.
I mean, I never thought this thing was perfect. So I mean, I asked him before. I said, "Chris, would you like to look at my game that I have and do a review for it?" I mean, I'm not going to tell you one thing, yes or no, good, bad, or indifferent. The only thing I'm going to ask is just don't release it until the game is released, and I'll post it on YouTube at the same time. Other than that, I don't care what you say, because I trust you to be partial. If you're going to say something bad, and the nice thing was is when he reviewed it, he found a bug that had slipped past my beta testers, which I fixed. But so it worked out. The only reviews that went out were unbiased reviews, which was really nice. And how it worked out is I now have 19 copies left. After 1 month, I sold 81 copies of it in 1 month. And that's only other game I sold faster than that was Crazy Climber.
Right,
Because it was on Kickstarter.
right.
And I have not had one bit of negative review on it, which is nice. It's really nice. I mean, I hope it stays that way. Maybe what's his
I was
face?
just-
He's finally grown up.
Which Chris was reviewing it?
Mills.
Chris Mills. Chris
Yeah.
Mills.
Mills.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he does a nice job of
Yeah,
reviewing.
Yeah, he
stuff.
does a really good
I like
job.
it, yeah.
And he really posts a lengthy,
Mhm.
you know, paragraph of his likes and dislikes of the,
Yeah,
of the
he did
game.
when he first started doing his reviews, he asked me, he said, "Please fix the sound. The noise it makes when you eat a power pellet is so loud, my wife is yelling at me." Okay, I'll fix it. I can adjust the sound.
You sure it's the power pellet?
It was so-
Yeah, he posts, he's a good poster.
No, he is.
But yeah, that worked out pretty good. And it worked out good for my members too, because the members got the game first. They got their exclusive rights. And then the day that the game went live for non-members, which they could get it delivered to, I mean, I can start shipping to them now, August 1st, the game also went live online digital for the members to download and play it on their emulators.
Now, I have a really strange question for you on
Uh-huh.
on the digital one. Is the serial number?
It shows you garbage.
It shows me garbage because what I do is I do make a backup of my games because I like playing them on my Phoenix or on one of my alt. When I did a backup of my legal copy from you, it put garbage as the serial number. Even
It
on
did?
it did.
Then
And
you
I-
know what? And
I hadn't had a chance to chat.
I
with
can
you.
tell you, I can tell you why off system, but I would tell you that your backup copy is not copying all 32K of the ROM.
I was wondering. I mean, the game plays.
Yeah, because there's a particular part of the ROM where the serial number is hidden. And that's where it's pulling out. The serial number is embedded by the EEPROM burner. Each one that makes will increment
Interesting.
with the next one.
Interesting.
And for the
Interesting.
digital copy, I don't embed a serial number, so you're seeing the raw garbage there.
It's the same garbage.
Yeah,
It's the
which
same
means that your
garbage.
copy
It's
did not embed that. Probably what your system copier did is it looked at it and thought it was all blank from here on, and it wasn't. There's some stuff hidden deeper in the null bytes.
very interesting.
No,
I
the
was
reason
just
why the
curious.
digital doesn't have any kind of name or number in the serial number is, again, the reason why I put the serial number in the game, not only so that it matches the box and everything else, is if someone wants to write a review, I want to see where the review is coming from.
Right. It
We
makes
know who we're
sense.
talking about.
Yeah.
And I want to see, okay, where is he getting his copy from? And the nice thing is too, I got a database of everybody who's purchased the game, except for those who bought them at the show. Then I just have show. And the one person that bought some for wholesale copies that he's gonna be selling later, I just put his company name on it. So I don't have the physical name of them. But it's
Right.
nice to know who purchased these copies.
Is Coleco gonna run with this one, or is it somebody?
I didn't
else's one?
contact him on this one.
Okay.
I was going to, but the last game I made, I don't know. I think it was somebody on here told me that they believe the reason why I had to make new boxes for him is that he had his trademark. He has to get.
No,
his-
it was no that was me. That was me.
Which makes sense. And
yeah.
I didn't want to contact him and say, yeah, I'll buy 50 copies, but I need my own boxes, because no, this game is going to stay, the box is going to stay the way it is. I'm not making special boxes just for you. So, but I believe I will do the same release on Joe the Eskimo. There'll probably be more copies of it. Joe the Eskimo is going to require a RAM board or a super.
Is
Game
it?
or an Atom? It
Or
has
an
to
Atom.
have memory there.
Well, if you need anybody to beta test, I can tell you a few of us got Adams. We'd be happy to do it for
yeah.
you. Be very happy to help, and because a platform game with what you're talking about doing with it, it sounds almost like Sydney Hunter, but I mean, obviously different. I think we talked about this on our last
You want
podcast.
to see how smooth it scrolls?
Do you want to show it to our fans? You want to show it to us?
I can show you. I can show you how
Is
smooth it scrolls.
Is this something you're okay with showing the people outside the podcast?
Yeah, they ain't gonna see much, but I am very impressed with the scrolling.
Awesome. Well,
This
here's
is
a
very impressive.
Techegy exclusive here.
Right.
Exactly.
Only 2 people have seen this. My beta tester who hasn't even got a chance to beta test it, and my wife, and me, 3.
And your wife, and then us. So we're
So let's
excited
see.
about
I have
this.
a screen here. I'm gonna go to Joe Rom. Here we go. So now you can see that's Joe, and ignore the fact he looks like Mario because I'm using Mario as a placeholder for that.
I was wondering.
What I am doing right now is I am working on the horizontal scrolling. If you're not aware of how the ColecoVision does its video, all the video RAM is hidden in the video display processor. And the only way that the CPU can get to it is by outputting bytes to it. So you can only send 1 byte at a time to the video RAM. So trying to move a whole screen of data at once is very hard. You're going to slow yourself down. So what I have done is I have figured out a way of doing some nice smooth horizontal scrolling. So I'm just going to give you some ideas of what it does. It's got horizontal scrolling, and this is, let me get up here. I want to jump. I've been playing with my jumping. So my jumping, I'm debating, do I want him to get stuck in here or not be able to jump? I think I might take him back off.
That's
Nice.
pretty impressive.
It's
Yeah.
impressive.
But you
Yeah,
can see
for
the
a
scrolling, and then I
ColecoVision.
got parallax in the back. See, the clouds are moving slower. The game itself, what I'm doing right now is how we stop share. Here we go. The game itself, what I'm doing right now is I'm testing all the mechanics.
Okay.
Then I'll be able to game. The reason why it's going to require the RAM expansion is the cartridge is going to have a number of worlds on it, but they have to be compressed, so I have to expand them out. So I'm going to expand them out into the memory, and then I can dump over pieces into the video RAM on the fly as the game's going, and it won't slow it down.
Interesting. When are you thinking that this one's going to come out? Probably Christmas.
Mid-October,
Okay. Okay.
depending on how deep I want to make it. I am still debating if this is going to be a mega cart or not. I'd like to make it a mega cart, which would be a 128K cartridge. That'll give me a lot of worlds in it.
But that'll also increase your costs.
The price will go from $50 for non-members to $65.
Right. No, I mean, it's the chips
yeah, the
right
price
now
will
are
go.
expensive.
Right. I'm still debating if I want to. I am playing with a 3D print of a cartridge right now. I may have a replacement for these, having to replace the shells. I have a good cartridge that prints very well, and I'm going to shop it out to people over in China to see what they can do with it.
Excellent.
So we'll see.
Excellent.
Yeah,
If there's anything I can do to help on those, I'm here.
Yeah, well, if I ask your help, it's going to be, hey, can you change this? Because I'm no good at that.
Yeah. No, I know exactly who I'd farm that out to, and he's down in Warner Robins.
I've made a couple things from scratch, and I am not joking when I say that I probably made 40 prototypes where I finally got to the right spot.
No, it's
I mean, I do
definitely an art.
print it, and as it's printing, I realize it's wrong, and I got to do it again.
What are you doing them in, Millie? What program?
What is it, Tinkercad?
Tinkercad. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. My resource will do it in SolidWorks for us. So,
I've been reading, use Blender and things like that. I'm like, I don't want to learn nothing new.
yeah, that's the way I am.
Blender's hard to learn anyway.
Yeah. So is SolidWorks. It's my son. He tried to show me how to use it. Yeah, I'm like, this isn't fun. You know, this is here. Okay, I'll just tell you what I need. So that's where the wheel for the ColecoVision replacement. I just gave him 2 broken ones, and I said, can you make this?
I just learned recently that you can actually, in Tinkercad, I think it was like a month ago, I learned that you can actually grab the object and lift it up in the air and rotate it and work on the bottom of it. So anything I was making, I was having to think ahead of time and building it from the bottom up. Layers.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
it's a nice thing. My 3D printer is giving me issues again. Now it's not printing. I think this roll that I got a PLA is just bad. It like stops dead in the middle and just sits there, and it's not clogged. I took the nozzle off and looked, and nothing's coming out, but the wheel's spinning away. So I think that the PLA has got flat spots in it or something.
Do you when you're not printing, do you store the PLA in a Ziploc bag with the silica things, or you just let it just sit?
Yeah, if it's old filament, and sometimes
Yeah, if you don't put it in like a Ziploc with the silica, it gets moisture in it. And what happens with that moisture is it screws up when it's printing. It's you have like a Ninja Foodie. You can put it on what's the mode? You can put it on dehydrate and it'll take the water out. There's some people that try to put it in the oven. I don't recommend that because that'll make your wife mad when she walks in and there's a big pile of goo inside her oven. But yeah, I didn't know. I don't know who did it. It was the cat.
So I guess my multicolored rainbow one that's been sitting open for about 8 months is probably bad too.
If you have a bunch of silica, just put it in a Ziploc bag and leave it in there for a few months, and that sure might help.
It depends on where you store it, really.
I store it hanging off of the top of the 3D printer.
Well, but I mean, is it a humid room? Is it a humid room or a dry room? You know, that's what.
Well, this summer it's been like 90 degrees at night and then air conditioned during the day. So it's up and down.
It's probably what it is, Millie. It's I've seen that happen, especially with more inexpensive filaments. But I mean, I use Hatchbox. There's a place called GT 3D that before the shortages, they were selling 10 rolls for $100.
I use this place called Amazon. Ever heard of it?
Scamazon, yeah.
I get it.
No, you can get Hatchbox from Amazon, and that's one of the better name brands. But
I sort mine by prime and lowest price.
that's you know what, that right there works too. But that also, because of the quality, those are normally the more inexpensive ones are the ones that soak up all that humidity. So if you get a bunch of Ziploc bags and just, you get silica along with them, just throw that in there when you're done, and some of your problems will probably go away.
Mike, what are you paying price wise for the filament?
It depends. I bought 30 rolls on January 1 for $10 a roll, 1 kilogram.
That's a good price.
And it's PLA plus.
Yeah.
And again, it's a place called GST 3D. And I've had good luck with their stuff. I know some people don't, but I've had really good luck. Before pandemic, best price is about $15 a roll. If you want to buy 1 or 2 rolls, about 15 is what you want. After pandemic, for good and supply chain issues, for a good filament, it's going to be about $20 a roll.
I pay about 17 for, I think it's called Inland at Microsoft.
Inland's very good. Yeah, Inland. It's made by eSun.
Yeah, I don't have too much trouble with that, and mine just sits on the spool over there all the time. Now my house is central air, but
Yeah, no, that's PLA plus. You're getting that from Micro Center, right?
Well, mine's just PLA. It's not even PLA plus, and I'm getting it from Micro Center, and it's Inland. It's like $17. So.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. I've used that in the past. I don't have a Micro Center here.
I don't have too much trouble with it at all.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. Again, I think it's rebranded eSun, and eSun would be right up there with Hatchbox. In what I've seen in the 3D world, those are some of the best stuff. I found this shiny stuff that I've been doing things with that I'm real surprised with. This is the newer. It's about $20 a roll. And I did a bunch of Star Trek phasers for a Star Trek club down in Mississippi, and I used this stuff. But I was doing a Johnny 5 for my office. And I'm real impressed with this stuff from
Mike,
how shiny it is.
Do you ever print in TPU?
Yeah, I was printing. I printed like a gizmo, one of the little cars that he drove, one of the Barbie cars, and I did the tires and the TPU.
Yeah, because it's rubberized. Yeah,
it is. I'm gonna do the replacement wheels for the inside of the ColecoVision controllers. My son did a prototype of that. I'm gonna actually send some over to Millie, and he's gonna test them out. If they work well, we're gonna look at putting them up in Millie's store.
Yeah,
But I
nice.
print those in TPU. So, I mean, really they're gonna be black because that's the easiest TPU color, especially
Right.
when you're printing tires, but they're gonna be inside. Nobody's gonna care. But I printed washers with it, John, when I've worked
Oh,
on
yeah.
projects and I need a washer.
Well, we were just at Micro Center when we were at the last convention up in Cleveland, and we didn't realize that our printers could actually print TPU.
Yep. Was that John? John, was that you that made the joke about printing a shoe?
Yeah, we
Yes.
were gonna print. Yeah, I'm gonna print some shoes for
Lots
myself.
of-
Some- he come walking out of one of the aisles, and I was like standing on the corner, and he said, "Oh, we're gonna print some shoes, but they might have to be baby shoes." And some guy that was like there shopping too walked by, and the dude was cracking up, like walking down towards the SD cards and stuff.
That's hilarious. Printing shoes.
Baby shoes.
I'm trying to think. I printed a Tasmanian devil on his mouth, the inside of his mouth. It's a thing that's up on Thingiverse. There's a gentleman who does a lot of the cartoon characters, but the inside of his mouth is hard to get it. And you print it, you can't get it in there because you can't move the thing up and inside the mouth. And I was going back and forth with the author, and I'm like, yeah, no remarks, guys. But trying to get the thing back up his mouth, trying to get his the black in there. And I said, have you guys thought about printing it in TPU? And they're like, no, that right there makes sense. So we're able to print it and just stick it back up there, and then you glue his teeth to it and everything. It's a phenomenal design. If you go out, just search for Tasmanian Devil up on Thingiverse. The guy that does those, he's done a lot of the Looney Tune characters, a lot of the Disney characters. It's brilliant how nice these characters look, and they're all free out there. I think I've got a Marvin the Martian, but Taz is my favorite character of all the things. But yeah, I've done a few things with the TPU. It's very specialized what I use it for. It's extremely tires, washers.
Is there any fumes off it or anything?
No. God, fumes. I bought a Flash Forge Proton. What do you call it? A resin printer. They were $99. $99. Okay, I'm gonna get into resin printing. My son, prints those little D&D dolls with them. And I'm like,
Can I share screen for a second?
go for it, man.
Yeah, do it.
So I'm on Thingiverse, right?
Yep.
Look what I see right here.
Hey, look at that. There's a ColecoVision shell.
That's the CBS one. That's the one that I'm printing out.
And it's a work
Yeah, I
in
didn't know.
progress. Look at that.
I didn't know if
that-
you knew that or not, Millie, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one. That's the one that I'm printing. That I tested. It printed up really good on my printer before my thing decided to take a nap.
there you go.
So
Yes, sir.
I have to do some changes to it to get a mega carton or the little
Right.
handles cuts into the PCB area.
Well, I've got, if you need changes to it, I've got the guy to do it.
Right.
Well, there's a few things in here they have for Coleco.
When I saw the power supply, I was thinking, oh, Millie put his power supply up there. So I know that.
They have a ColecoVision and Atom gamepad you can print out. Make your own.
I did the logo. I actually printed that logo.
This one.
Yeah, I printed that one. I love that.
Nice.
Yeah, I got
Nice.
keychains I made out of those.
Look, they got a little miniature one here.
The
Little miniature ColecoVision.
I printed
that's
that thing
funny.
up too. It's not as good as it looks.
no, it's not. I agree. I was going to say the same thing. It's not as good as it looks.
That quarter
I did-
looks massive.
I did a little a TG16 and it didn't look too hot.
No.
Now,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Oh, well.
no, it's not worth your it's not
No,
worth
probably
your-
not. It looks better there than it probably.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
yeah.
Okay.
But
I
yeah,
just
there
thought
is-
I was looking at the Thingiverse for Coleco and I happened to see.
you know
I don't know what else.
that battery cover up there? There was a battery cover that was on that previous page. They had to pull the original version down because new Coleco did I think it was that cover. Told them they had to pull it down. Yeah, it was that one. It was a tabletop because they did the
Wow.
ColecoVision logo on it and or the Coleco logo on it, and the new Coleco said, you got to pull it down. So they
Wow.
redid it without the logo. It might even be in the notes up there. I saw it originally. That power switch thing is what Ruggers uses.
This one here?
Yeah, that's what Ruggers uses for his power switch.
Oh, does
If-
he? Oh, okay.
If not that one, he's using something very similar.
What's this thing here?
That's that little piece of metal that's in the controller. That's new.
Oh,
I
is that
don't
the-
remember ever seeing that. I
Okay.
could print that. You know what? I should print that in this silver just to see how it comes out.
Yeah.
The ironic thing is it'll probably cost you less to just buy a piece of metal to put in there than it will the 3D filament.
Yeah, the
and the
3D
time.
print, yeah.
Yeah, one guy told me that they used to take aluminum cans and just cut a circle out,
Makes sense.
out and make it stick in there.
I'll stop sharing.
I'm realizing I need to upload I made the battery cover for the driving module. I made a replacement for that. I need to upload that.
Yeah, that was a good design.
I spent a while. That's one that I made like 20 prototypes of before I learned that I can rotate it and get to the pieces again.
It's amazing how much you learn by just trying to do it. I'm sure that happens a lot with your programming too, is
Oh, yeah.
you're like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah. I learned some new techniques for Joe the Eskimo that I didn't realize I could do before, and it's making life easy.
I'm amazed. Like I said, I'm amazed at the fluidity of watching your non-Mario go across
Yeah.
the screen.
Mm-hmm. But not Mario, yeah.
Oh, John
Non-Mario
did-
Mario. You can call
John
him
didn't
Jump
see
Man.
that.
I got
I think
some-
John missed that. didn't he?
John will see it when he's editing.
No,
Oh,
no,
that's true.
the 6 times. No, I'll miss it and leave it in. No, I came right at the end. I saw it.
No, did you? Okay.
And Millie said we could leave
I
it in.
haven't changed the sprite yet. It's going to use the same sprite style, it's going to be 3 layers, the same
Oh man,
style of walk.
It's-
and I
this
just
is
haven't
like this is
modified
a
it yet.
Techegy exclusive.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's what we were saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
We're gonna
it's
start charging. We're going to start charging and putting ads in the podcast and stuff.
You got to start doing some promoing.
exactly. We just can't do it on certain Facebook groups, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
I
your initials are
definitely
MC. Your initials are MC. You just can't post.
Banned for
that.
life.
Just ignore the insane asylums. You just don't have to go there, because the thing is, like that, you know what group I'm talking about. He may have 19,000 members there, but about
There's not a whole-
18,000 of them don't exist anymore.
And
So-
for the amount of members on there, the user interaction, the social interaction is fairly low compared to his membership.
I'll tell you, Mark has done a wonderful job. I know you're part of that as well for the
Yeah,
the Fanatics one, and you know, it seems like there's just a lot of great interaction, you know, on Fanatics, or anybody that you know is on Facebook. And if you're a ColecoVision fan, it's definitely
Mhm.
a good community. There's a lot of Coleco love in there. If you have issues with systems, you post something, people are trying to help. It's, you know,
if you have system issues, you just join
oh yeah.
you join Millie's club, and then you
That's
send
right.
them.
I'm sending them all to Millie.
Unless it's the tape drive that shorted out.
I have about 20 or 30 tape drives that have done the same thing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
those had such a high failure
Yeah.
rate. There was a guy that had a bunch of the disk drives, and I actually told, he came back to me today and said, hey, I have one, it's like $375, which is a good price on it. And I told him I just can't swing it right now because of other things, but I know somebody will pick that up. But I don't have any discs for my Atom. I'm better off getting.
I never had any issue with my tape drive when I had mine.
It depends. They don't go bad. What happens with most of them is that they don't go bad as much as they sat for so long. And this is something that I keep meaning to type into the groups too, to tell people, because a lot of people buy these things and then they set them up on their shelf.
Yep.
And if you set them on your shelf for a little while, that's okay. But just if you're not aware of how, and if your data drive has been modified, it doesn't have the rubber wheel anymore, you're okay. But the rubber decomposes when it gets warm. And if you think about it, if you've never fixed one, Mike has fixed one now. But
Well, fix is a real loose word you're using there.
if you've never taken one apart that's melted, the wheel sits like this and it melts and it seeps downwards and into everything.
Yes.
And if you don't want to destroy your encoder, store your Atom face down standing up so that if the wheel does melt, it's just going to melt and fall down on the plastic cover. It's not going to go inside the guts of the machine. It won't look good, but that's the best way to store it. Or just, yeah, or replace the wheel with a piece of nylon.
Yeah, well, you replaced it with and I have to say, you'll laugh because how bad that one I look like I cut inside that one I sent you.
Yeah, I
It was-
checked it. There was a piece hanging off that I had to trim down.
Yeah, I like I said, it was in your video you had, get this thing, do it real nice. Here I am with an X-Acto knife. It's close enough. Plus I knew it when it didn't work.
Did you go buy 10 foot of the nylon tubing at Lowe's?
I did.
Quarter inch?
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
did.
was selling that stuff at every 6 inches. I was just selling 6 inches of it to people. You need
Yeah.
it, you can buy
Yeah,
it.
no, I've got, if I ever decide to do another fish tank, I'm all set, or siphon gas out of my
There was
neighbor's
somebody who-
car.
There
I'm
was a
all
video of
set.
somebody who pulled the wheels off of Hot Wheel cars and used
I
it.
saw that. I thought, but that's
Yeah, I just-
more,
I said,
that's more
okay.
expensive than buying the tube.
and trying to find a Hot Wheel that has rubber wheels on it anyway.
Yeah.
Everyone-
I thought it was clever. I was very
Yeah.
clever.
I looked at it and I measured it and I said, I'm gonna go to the store and see if I can find something. And I went all up and down the aisles on Lowe's and I found something.
Yeah.
I took an encoder wheel that was all broken up too with me. And I sat there and I kept sticking it. Okay, it don't fit in that one, don't fit. Oh, it fits in this one.
I took your message and went in there and bought it.
Yeah.
That's how I did it.
I got
You made it easier for me.
I got a picture of the original stuff that I bought back in 2015, the tag, and I use that myself if I need to.
I was laughing. My wife said, "What are you buying?" And I'm buying something for that computer. It's sitting on the floor. She goes, "Oh, nice. You really need that much?" Yeah, apparently I do.
Hey,
Or-
I'm current.
or you could just cut off like an inch. You could have told the guy, can I get an inch of this to see if it fits the fitting I got at home? Yeah, let me cut a piece off. No one know.
So I'm currently bidding on an Atom right now, $86 right now, but there's 5 days left. So,
Yeah, it'll go over 300. Is it in a box?
I think it is, yeah.
It'll go over 300.
Oh yeah, if it's in a box, it's over
But
300.
the box didn't look all that great
matter.
shape.
What's the shipping? I like how they say
Uh,
$120 shipping. I've shipped
I don't-
in boxes and it's about.
I'm not,
That's what I paid to ship.
I'm not gonna go any higher than like 350. I'll drop out at 350. So,
Are you buying it to collect or to use?
well, I'll probably use it,
Is it a full Atom or is it the expansion?
I think it's the full.
Yeah, I'd buy personally, I like the full, but yeah, Millie, I know when you because I got mine from Millie. I got my first
And
one
if
from
it-
Millie. And
and if
I know
I-
it costs you a little pretty penny to ship that thing.
And if it's not working, I'll just send it to Millie and he'll fix it.
Wasn't that much, but yeah.
Well, the thing that won't work on it, John, will be the tape drive. Everything
Yeah.
else will work, and then Millie will have to do another batch of power supplies because last thing you want is the printer on. I got that.
Oh, that power supply is a godsend.
Yeah, isn't it? I got mine.
It is.
I got mine hooked to one of those those outlet things that you can say. So I can say, hey Google, turn on Atom, and now it'll come on behind me over there.
Yep.
But
I've
I
discovered
remember, yeah, that was just a piss poor design on that thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
I've
Well, I
discovered
took,
with 2 people so far. I've discovered I've done about 160 of these power supplies. There are certain atoms where the power plug is recessed about 1/8 of an inch deeper into the system than others. So when you plug in
Interesting.
my new plug in, it won't go in there all the way and it hangs off or it can't even make contact. I mean, it's like even something like that, they couldn't get right.
well,
Well-
what's funny was I bought a second Atom after I got the one from you, and it was from a charity in Chicago, and it was like 200 that we came back, and it was tax and everything shipped with a bunch of games and stuff. It was $260 or something like. It was a great price. It was really a good price, and they did it overnight, and they had a bunch of games with it. It had even a bunch of Coleco games with it. And of course it came in, it looked like candy corn, like you said. And it had the printer, actually, it looks like they even changed the printer later on in builds. Like the arm is going this way instead of one of the things. It's going a different direction. The power cables were different colors. It looks like nothing was consistent. And that's what that tape drive I sent you was
Yeah.
from. It was like nothing was consistent with those systems.
There was three
was-
different tape drives. There was the first one, which is, if you ever open up, it's just a bunch of spaghetti. It's a mess.
That's the one that melts, right?
They all do.
They all do. I thought the Fuji.
But then there was the first one, and then there was a JVC, and then there was an upgraded JVC.
The
way you can
JVC,
tell the best one is the last version of the JVC. If you look at the top where you got your latch, if you look at the latch holder, if it has two little clips that hold it in place versus three screws, that's the good one. That's
Okay.
the one. If you open it up, it's got nice plugs, everything plugs in together, everything folds nicely, it's got a nice RF shield. Any of the other ones, it could be anything. I mean, there's the model in between, the second version, which sometimes they have things plugged together, sometimes it's wired, sometimes it's hot glued. You see tape in there holding things together. They're a mess inside.
Well, you all know the story why there was such a high failure rate, right? It was because they rushed that to market so they could get it out for Christmas of I think it was 1985. They wanted that, or was it 83? 83? Okay. But they wanted to get that out so that it would hit the market in time for Christmas sales, and they rushed that sucker. And I think the failure rate was like every 3 out of 10 fail, I think, or maybe it was even higher.
Well, if you run back though, some of the failures, about at least half the failures, really weren't failures as much as the people just left their data pack inside the thing and erased their Smart Basic cartridge.
Well, they had it in the instructions, the original instructions.
That's
to put the tape drive in, put the tape in before
Yeah.
you turn it on.
That's a design flaw. They didn't.
Yeah.
They could have fixed that. There was no
Yeah.
reason why.
So then they started putting the sticker on the top that said, "Don't put the tape in." And then there's a newer version of the manual. that
But
said,
that's
"Don't put
that was my point, Mike. Even the documentation was rushed to the point
documentation
where they
was
left
bad."
things out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess they felt they had to grab the market as fast as they could, and
Well, they were starting to lose market share because of what was the other system that came out?
Well, that
Was it did Atari have something? No, it wasn't Atari. Who was?
Atari didn't have one.
was a
There
video
was-
game crash, wasn't it? That was hurting the ColecoVision sales in '83.
Yeah, I guess the crash sort of hurt.
See, that's the other thing is
Adam.
ColecoVision wasn't hurting. They just wasn't making a lot of money. What they did is they took all of their money they made for, I think it was the Cabbage Patch dolls and all their other toys, and they dumped it into the Atom. And that's where they were hurting because they didn't have cash flow coming in after that. They dumped
Right.
all this money into making it, and they needed cash flow to continue it. And they were starting to steal from their other stuff to make the cash flow come in for the Atom to keep it running. So yeah, they rushed it, but they shouldn't have. They wanted to get that Christmas thing, and they should have just left it alone. They should have
Yeah.
waited for afterwards.
Yeah.
They wasn't the only one. I mean, Mattel was being forced to they had to get a system out because they told their shareholders they had an add-on coming for the Intellivision. And they
Yeah.
wasn't getting that done. So they went over to Hong Kong and they bought the Aquarius from Ratapin and called it the Mattel Aquarius. Released it on the market, sold it for 3 months, took it off the market and said, okay, shareholders are happy. Eventually they came out with an add-on for the Intellivision, but
Yeah.
then it was too late.
Yeah.
And then Atari, I guess Atari was going to make one for the 2600. There was one, but it wasn't by Atari. It was whatever the other one was that plugged in and gave it a keyboard. Have you ever
I don't
seen it?
remember. I don't remember
It
ever
gave it
seeing.
a tape deck and a keyboard for the Atari 2600 and a
Wow.
basic cartridge.
Wow. I never even knew about that. That's
I don't know what you could do with it, but yeah.
Mm.
There
Looked like
was,
fun.
I was reading this one thing for the Atari 2600. There was a system, the service that plugged into the Atari 2600 into the cartridge, and it had a modem and stuff. You could go online and buy games and download them into your 2600 and play them online, just like you can now when you go on digitally and buy them for your phone. You could do the same thing with the 2600. You could buy
Huh.
games and download them into your system, and they would record them on tape, and you can play them from tape. It didn't go over too well, but you could do it.
interesting. So,
Hey, I'm gonna take everybody down memory lane here.
oh, here we go.
So starting with from 1976, we had these systems available. Atari Pong, Fairchild, Atari Ultra Pong, Magnavox Wonder. Some of these I've never even heard of. Coleco,
There was
Telstar.
a channel F I saw on sale at CAGs.
Mark,
I'm gonna be
didn't,
working on-
didn't,
I'm gonna be
didn't
working on
Mark,
2 of them.
didn't Mark just get a channel F that it was broken?
Yeah, he's got 2 of them. He's sending them to me so I can figure out why I don't have any sound.
Did they
So,
have sound
Atari-
back then?
They have
So
internal
the-
speakers.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's not working. It probably just needs a new speaker.
So the Atari 2600 sold 30 million units. That's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to bump it up a little bit. We're going to go to 78. We got Telstar Alpha, Nintendo Color TV Game Series, Magnavox Odyssey 3000, Coleco Telstar Colormatic, Coleco Telstar Ranger, Magnavox Odyssey 4000. Then we have Atari Video Pinball, Atari Stunt Cycle. I think I've seen that before somewhere. Bally Arcade Professional, Coleco Telstar Sportsman. I didn't know Coleco had all these other standalone systems. Combat.
John, something to keep in mind, a lot of these early systems, they only had 1 game on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know that.
Half of them are Pong systems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coleco.
I don't know-
Coleco
I don't know
ran
what this
market.
one here is. Is this a M1000? Is that a MSX? No, that's not MSX. That's too
Looks
early.
like it looks like a thing, but the Telstar, Coleco got lucky when they bought that Pong chip,
Yeah.
but they cornered the market on them. And they were part of the reason why there was such a surplus of them.
Yeah. And then we're going to move up to 79. We got the Odyssey
There I
2.
am.
Milton Bradley Macrovision. Never knew about that. Mattel and Television. We all know about that. Epoch's Cassette Vision. The Bally Computer System. Emerson Arcadia 2001. Bandy Arcadia. ColecoVision. There we go. Woohoo! And then I didn't know Milton Bradley made the Vector.
They bought the rights to it after what, a year?
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah.
Bally Astrocade, that was pretty popular. 5200, obviously. Then there's your Coleco 2600.
Oh, I love it. I love it. The picture of the 5200, the back is broken in that picture. That's
Is it
hilarious.
really?
Yeah, there's a door back
Okay.
there. that you
I'm just
can
a
close.
messenger, Mike.
No, I'm just laughing at
Yeah.
it because it's hard.
Then we're
find
up to
what it is.
83. 83, we got Nintendo Family Computer, the Famicom.
Got the veterans again.
Casio P1. No, there's another did they have an update? This must be like the color version or something.
It's the one that
Does
the
it-
joystick doesn't break on.
Yeah. Sega SG 1000, Mattel and Television 2. That's
That
pretty rare.
that Columbia House arcade. That's just a Coleco Gemini rebranded.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Now the NES sold 61 million units. Oh my gosh. Wow. That's crazy. And then we bump up to 86. We got the Sega Master System. They sold 15 million units. Atari 78, NEC PC Engine, and you got your TurboGrafx 16. And then in 88, you got the Sega Genesis.
Woohoo!
They
That
sold
was
40
me.
mi-
That was me. That was me too.
40
I love
million
that system.
units.
NHL hockey and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're waiting for Millie to do a hockey game.
I thought
Anyway,
about that today. I thought about that today and I was like, why?
NEC Super Nintendo,
Because I said I was going to do one. Yeah.
Sega
Gotta have a
Master
hockey
System
game.
2.
Well, I do a port of the Atari 2600 hockey.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. I've got it over
Or
here.
Actually, I'm
Ice
sorry,
hockey.
not the 2600, the Atari Pong hockey.
I
That
don't
one.
like that one. That would be too
Battles?
easy. Yeah, no. We want players.
Super Nintendo's system, they sold for almost 50 million units. Then we have the SNK Neo Geo.
That's the
The
home
Commodore-
version of the arcade version of the.
I didn't even know this even existed, this Commodore CD TV.
I think that was part of the Trammell trying to make Commodore relevant after he bought them. I think,
Jack,
I think that's,
Jack Trammell, yeah.
yeah.
The CDTV, I believe the CDTV was an Amiga, wasn't it?
No, I said that
No.
wrong. It was Commodore trying to make it after Trammell left. 'Cause, they were trying to,
okay.
because Trammell bought Atari by that point, by
Yeah.
91. So yeah, I bet you, Millie, I bet you that thing came out before the Amiga, and that's when they were
Yeah.
trying to keep the 64 relevant. So they
Right.
came out with that thing.
Yeah, but they went from the 64 to the 128. So they bumped it up, they went from
What is that?
64K of RAM to 128K of RAM. or
That
ROM,
might,
I guess.
that might be the Amiga.
And then there's the Philips CD1. And now we're going into 92. We got the NEC Turbo Duo, the Sega Genesis 2, Sega
Here's
Genesis
the one I had.
CD.
Sega
That CDTV is just an Amiga 500.
Well, this picture here is this isn't correct, is it? It says Commodore Amiga CD32. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, well, that also is the Amiga 500. It looks like they just added a thing at the end of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have it up.
Sega CD2, Panasonic.
Oh, wait a
3DO.
minute, John. That one has a seat. That's the difference. This
This
one
one.
is, this one's a little bit different. It's a seat. This one has a CD-ROM,
Oh,
but
okay.
the other one didn't.
And then we got a Panasonic.
No.
Hey, we
Panasonic
talking
3
about the Commodore CD.
Well, there's two of them. There's a CD-TV, and then there's
Yeah,
a
that was
CD.
their attempt at a 32-bit console.
But what's
this
this
one
other
here.
one? Yeah, what's this other one? CD32. There was like two different versions of it.
Is the
It was
CD32 the one that's just the Amiga without a keyboard and everything?
Yeah, that's what it is.
So that's what this is.
Yeah, if you go back, John, the other one has a keyboard.
It's a full system.
Right. I do. I do
There's
that
a
was Amiga
floppy.
too.
There's a floppy drive over here, a keyboard, and there's the main unit, and then there's the monitor.
I mean, that right there doesn't even look like a game system. And then you got that VCR alongside of it,
Yeah,
which is
it's
basically what that was.
graph on the screen.
CD1.
What game has graphs? The bar graph.
Yeah, I know. That was a spreadsheet.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, we had
Well, you guys knew that when the Xbox came out, when Microsoft was doing the Xbox, the Office group was trying to figure out how to get Excel, Word, and PowerPoint on the Xbox, and the group said no, we're not doing that
Aw.
crap. Yeah,
That'd have been great.
yeah, it's on that documentary that's on YouTube.
Oh,
I think it
wow.
was YouTube about Game On when Microsoft got in.
Yeah, the game on thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was in there, and they're talking about that. It's like, no, this is a game system. I don't want to do my damn charts on that.
All right. 1994, the Sony PlayStation, over 100 million units. The Bandy Playdia, never heard of that. Sega Genesis 32, NEC Turbo Duo RX. Then you got the NEC PC FX. And then the SNK Neo Geo CD, and then the Sega Saturn. And I think the last slide here is it takes us up to 1998, but we got the Nintendo Virtual Boy. That was a flop.
PS4 Pro. But with
Casio Loopy, never heard of that. Nintendo 64, of course, we've heard of that.
Loopy.
Sega Saturn Skeleton, not sure what that is.
You can
Super
see through
Nintendo.
it. You can see through it. That's the only difference.
Is that what it is? Is that why?
That was the only it was trying to be edgy. So
Okay.
they re-released the Saturn with a clear shell.
Okay.
Spelled
And then the
Genesis wrong there.
And then you got your Sega Genesis 2, and then you got your Sega Dreamcast, and that takes us up to 1998.
That
So
was the year my son was born.
there you go. I just thought we'd have a stroll down memory lane there.
You know, there's
See,
a I don't know if you guys have seen it. I'll see if I can find it, and I'll send it to John to add in the thing. But there's a video that shows each company and how many units they sold, and it shows it by year. So you see it like Magnavox is
Oh,
number
yeah.
one, and then all of
I've
a sudden you
seen
see, then you see Atari past them.
Mike, you're reading my mind. I was gonna just show that here.
Show it. I love that video.
Show it.
I
You
love
can
that
show it.
video.
The YouTube channel is called Data is Beautiful, and they got some fascinating stuff to watch in there. But let me show you this one. It's the most popular consoles We up. Well, somebody else still sharing or?
No,
You
it's
can
up.
share,
It's all
yeah,
you.
you're good.
Okay,
It's
oh,
all
I
you.
clicked
Done.
the up arrow. Okay, I clicked the up arrow instead
If
of
it's the one I think it is, it goes all the way to Microsoft.
Yeah, it goes up to 2020.
Yeah,
That's
it
it.
was cool as hell.
It
This
might
one is
take a
the
while
most
for
popular
this.
consoles. And I'm gonna let it play for a little bit here.
Yeah,
so
just
you
turn
can-
the
and it's
music
fun.
off and we can just talk through it.
But yeah, so let me turn the volume of it down.
Make it full screen, Millie.
Just turn the volume off. We'll just talk when it's on. 'Cause I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, make sure I don't get a copyright
Yeah.
claim on this.
I don't know. This Muzak guy may sue you.
But yeah, if you watch, it's fascinating. What I like, I mean, this guy not only does this, but he does movies and stuff like that. And it's
Oh,
awesome
really?
to see these movies, how they sold and stuff. I mean, if you go in there and look at the most popular movies of all times, it's like it sits there back and forth with different movies, and all of a sudden Star Wars gets there and stays there
Yeah.
so long. See how different games come in as the years go by?
Yeah,
You
here we
start
go.
sales. Now, if this is the one or not, there's one of these on here, and I don't know where it ended at. Maybe it ended at 2000, but the ColecoVision came in third.
Yeah, there was
Third,
one. There was
Well, look,
one
there
that
was
was
a-
by. There was one that's by company.
There's Telestar.
By companies too, right?
Yeah, there was one by company. That's the one I'm thinking of. I didn't realize this one here is really cool.
Oh, this is nice.
By
this is-
company is
Atari.
interesting because Coleco was like you said was number 3 for a while.
Right.
Atari's coming up fast.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Watching it's like a race to see how good they do.
Yeah. Well, how many units did the ColecoVision sell? I don't even know.
Was it
Yeah,
2
no,
million?
sir. We're only 3 years away from it.
Was it 5
Yeah,
million?
we're only 3 years away.
I want to say it was like, I want to say they sold like 5 million units.
They're going to be in first place.
I guess we'll find out here.
Yeah, you'll find out.
Yeah.
So I had one of those Pong units that's right above the Intellivision or
Well, I
not
did
below
have
it.
that too.
I sold it.
Telestar ones. I had those.
Well, I'm talking about I had one a couple of years ago and I sold it because I was like, I'm not going to collect that.
Look at that Atari. Holy crap.
Oh yeah.
ColecoVision, it's coming.
Atari's killing it, man.
Well, it took the NES to overtake Atari.
Here it
Yeah.
comes.
Here we come, Coleco. Come on,
Comes
baby.
Coleco. Come on, baby.
Come on, baby. Come on.
We got ColecoVision in fourth.
Go, go, go,
place.
go, go, go.
Go, go. It's a horse race. Come on,
This guy
Coleco.
overjumped Mike's Odyssey there that he's using.
Bam. 2 million.
Yeah, it beat me.
Come on, Coleco.
I thought it was only 2, so we're over 2. Look at that. But there comes Nintendo.
Nintendo's just climbing the ranks.
Oh,
boom,
no,
boom,
yeah.
boom,
Just
boom.
slaughters it.
It's gonna be number one.
Yeah, but Coleco's still adding stuff to the
There it
list.
stopped.
It's stopped. 2.5 million.
2.5.
There you go. Nintendo for the win.
Until they
It's
get
a-
to
Until what is it? PlayStation comes out and just destroys it.
Hey, I have a question though for you. When they stopped making the ColecoVision, was the Atari 2600 still being sold? I guess it was. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
they're still selling it. I
Yeah.
think they sold it up to like 91 or something like that.
Yeah, right up until
They
Trammell.
had the junior, they had the 2600, they had the 2600 junior.
It was right up until Trammell quit selling it. I mean, honestly, if I
That
remember
right there, now
correctly.
it's starting to drop out. It's still selling. Look at that. 25 million of them is still going.
Yeah.
Well, they said they sold 40 million units, according to that slide that I had, but maybe not.
What
I don't
of Atari?
Yeah, it said 40 million units.
That's weird. Yeah, this thing's only saying 26, unless they counted the 7800 in there.
It's
But
still
the-
going up.
But
Well,
the
it's still
7
going up. It's just that it's losing ground to NES.
that's going to get to 40 because we're still the NES.
Off the market at 27 million.
Yeah.
Coleco's in last place. Wow.
Well, again, you're dealing with probably
Yeah.
close to the 90s now. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
you
super
do,
Nintendo.
yeah.
Pricing too. I mean, think about the price when the ColecoVision and the Ataris came out. They were expensive. They were a week's salary easily. And
Oh, easy. In television.
yes, NESs, they were coming out. They were like 1/4 of what the value of the ColecoVision and the Atari were at the time. So they were cheaper. Because they were
Wow.
making it up on the cost of the games. The games were expensive.
I didn't realize the Mega Drive did outsell the Atari. I keep thinking.
I guess my slide was wrong, although I don't know.
Depends upon
Either
your
that or
source,
this is
John.
wrong. I'm off by 13 mil. I think that's what it said.
I love this site though. Like I said, the company one is interesting because you see all the NES and the Atari stuff's all together, and all of a sudden see Coleco to kind of overtake it for a little while, and all of a sudden you just see Sony come in and across the screen, and then out of nowhere Microsoft shows up in what 19 was it 2001?
We're gonna know.
Hey, I have a question. Where's the 5200?
Oh, that dropped off a long time ago.
Yeah,
Oh, did it? Oh, okay.
they didn't sell many of those.
Well, the 78 sold almost 4 million. So
And the PC Engine would include the TurboGrafx 16.
yeah. Oh wow. Here comes the PlayStation.
Yeah. So John, they only sold about 1 million units of the 5200.
Oh, is
Chump
that all?
change.
Yeah.
Chump change.
But it had decent
Oh.
graphics.
Here comes the PS2.
Yeah. Here comes the PS2. Wait till you see.
Well, look,
the,
it's impressive that the Atari was still selling in 2001.
I
You
think
see
they
that?
Yeah.
Well, it's just the count now. It's not going up anymore. I think they kept
Yeah,
it
it's not selling.
so long that they sold so many. Where these other ones are only on the market for like maybe 5 years and they replace it with something else.
Yeah.
there's the GameCube just randomly showing up down there. Wait till you see. There's the Xbox.
Xbox. Whoa.
The GameCube is so underappreciated. I love the GameCube.
Oh,
I did too.
Except the discs. I hated the discs.
Oh yeah, the
didn't
discs
like
were
the disc.
stupid. Yeah,
Scratched
agree.
up.
That was like those little discs you had to use in for singles for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the Xbox in there. Xbox is almost
Man,
out
please-
Atari.
PlayStation's on the top of the charts here. They got two systems. They got the original and the PS2.
That's what
Holy
was
crap.
interesting. If you watch the one that's just on the company names, that used to see Sony just all of a sudden kicking everybody's ass.
with an old gen console still at the top. Yeah.
Right. But like with companies, it was
Wow.
yeah.
In the 2000, we're in 2007 here, and it's still.
If you think about the PlayStation,
Oh,
they came out with
Oh,
the
the
PlayStation.
Wii. Here comes the Wii.
Here comes the Wii.
Oh!
The Wii is killing that, man.
The GameCube resurfaced.
But where's
Holy
the
shit.
360?
Wii
There
is
it is.
climbing like
There's the
There you
360.
go.
There's
what
the
the
360.
hell?
Yeah. No, the Wii.
You got-
47 million.
You
Oh,
got to
it's in
remember
there.
that. You got to remember that when Microsoft released the Xbox and even the 360, like one of the main markets for video games was Japan, and Japan
Yeah.
was not
Yeah.
keen on American systems.
Look at that Wii going up, man. Holy shit.
That you may need to edit that.
I'm not. Nothing's getting edited out of this one. This is uncensored Techegy podcast.
That could be your theme out with it. Is call it the
It's
uncensored.
the uncensored one. That'll be the title of this one.
I didn't realize. the
Sorry,
Wii sold-
sorry, Millie, you had to be a part of it, but
I didn't realize the Wii sold that. It's gonna
Oh, the
overtake
Oh
PlayStation.
yeah.
for what
yeah.
the Wii was, it was very popular system.
look at the 360 and the PlayStation 3 fight for
Yeah.
dominance.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
the PS3 kicked it right at the end.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
Microsoft said everybody needs a Connect. Everybody has to have a Connect. And
Let's see if the
You
Wii
saw-
can do it. The Wii's starting to slow down there.
the Wii's run out of steam.
And it might overtake PlayStation. Still climbing.
Yeah, it's not going to take. Oh, actually,
it's-
no, the
it's-
Wii did.
The PlayStation stopped, Mike.
Here comes the PS4.
Oh, Wii stopped.
Market. The Wii U should be coming up eventually to replace it.
That ain't
Yeah,
gonna go very far.
that's not going to. That probably won't even show up.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
Well, this is
PU.
fun. This is fun to watch.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like watching a horse. It's like watching horse races.
I know. I'm gonna bet on. Let's bet.
Here
No,
comes the
because don't because the PS2 was one of the highest selling consoles ever.
ever.
So
Yeah, but look, I mean, the Xbox One there, that is.
Look, hey, the Sega Mega Drive is still in there.
Mm.
At the bottom.
Hold
Yeah.
on.
And there's the Switch.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
gonna be big too.
Yeah,
so
Switch will be
well,
big.
the PS2 is the most popular console.
Well, look
Apparently.
where the 4 is though. Look where the 4 is.
Hey, the PS3 was a little bit of a flop compared to what Sony done, but the PS4 was very popular too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Wow.
Sounds like somebody's playing organ music.
Oh, what about the?
There you go. You
That
got
was it.
Oh yeah, there's Casey Anthony. Perfect.
which is always, it's always nice having those related videos coming up.
Yeah, I know.
That was fun, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. Wow. That really puts stuff in perspective, especially when you think about like the PlayStation 2, and that's wow. That's the most popular console ever was the
Well, but
PlayStation 2.
the problem is Xbox, and it's never really been sold very much in Europe or Japan or any of them other countries where PlayStation's been the whole world selling.
Yeah.
We can make excuses all day for it, but
Well, if you don't have it in the country, you can't sell it. You know what I mean?
Right.
they were available. It was available in Japan, just nobody wanted it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But there's a
about
lot
when
of countries it wasn't available in.
think about when the original Xbox was what came out and had those controllers that were like this big, the Dukes.
Yeah.
And when they released it in Japan, they're like, oh no, we got to shrink these down. And I was like, well, wait a minute, these right here will sell well over in the US. Yeah, it's interesting watching the mistakes a lot of these companies made. We were talking about, some of the ones that Coleco did with the Atom, with putting the power supply in the printer and tape drives that can erase tapes. I mean, it's good if you're trying to do bulk erasing, but not if you're trying to sell it to the consumers. You look at Microsoft with their marketing blunder on the Xbox One. When the Xbox One first came out, you had to have a Kinect. You had to have a Kinect. You're getting a Kinect. It's $100 more than everybody else. No, they're getting a Kinect.
Well, but here's the thing. If you notice, PlayStation always copies Xbox, but they make it as accessories instead of forcing you to buy it. I mean, they had a camera. They copied the camera. They copy their desktops all the time. They copy everything else.
They copied the Wii.
Microsoft does,
They copied the
but
Wii.
they don't force you to buy it.
Right.
Maybe, but they
Where-
still sold more copies.
Well, John, if you look at America, if you compare the two, there isn't that big a difference. Because
Okay, but we were an entire world.
well, you got to be selling it in that country to actually have people buy it.
And PlayStation did.
That's because they were selling it in every country. America.
Well, that's how you make money. You,
Look,
you sell it
Xbox-
everywhere.
Huh?
Or you're like Millie and you make exactly 100 copies. And you sell them to 100 people. And you could do that too. John's going,
No.
what can I say back to that? I can't.
No, the PS2 was an awesome console. That was like I think I was 14 when I finally got a PlayStation 2. It was when they first released the slim version of it instead of the big, bulky version of it. And that console was freaking awesome.
I always thought
And-
that the PS3 looked like a George Foreman grill.
It does. I have one sitting in my bedroom and I step on it every morning.
Well,
You
they
cook
went with that
pancakes in
special
it.
processor that screwed everything up for programming.
Yeah. Well, there was really not a whole lot of backwards compatibility with the PS3, which is a huge mistake because the 360 did
Huge
the
mistake.
backwards.
That
Very
that
big
was-
mistake.
Huge
That-
mistake. And
Yeah,
it
that was
cost
the cell processor they created that everyone had a hard time programming it.
I don't know what Sony was thinking when they did that. Nobody wants to play these PS2 games. You can still play PS1 games on them, but not PS2. The last gen that we just came off of.
Yeah, that's making any sense.
huge mistake.
So dumb on their part.
Yeah.
And they're still feeling they're still reeling from after PS4 and they're trying to play catch up because now if you go on the PlayStation store, you can download and play, some of the PS1 games, PS2, but there's not a whole lot of PS3 games because the PS3 games aren't compatible with the PS4. So they just keep tripping over themselves every time they do this. Now you buy an Xbox, not every single game is compatible, but you go back in the library,
Enough of them are.
enough of them are.
The
And
good
the
ones
more
are.
pop-
Most of the good ones are.
Well, there's even randomly, there's like
Barbie's
a ton-
Horse Adventure, I think, works on the.
Yeah, it's just there. But with the PS3 and even with the PS3 games, it was just flat out nope. And then that's not even counting like the PSP and the Vita. The Vita was an absolute failure. The PSP was okay, but the Vita was a failure.
Yeah, Vita
I
was a
mean,
failure.
Compare that with like the 3DS, like what Nintendo was doing. That didn't even last very long.
And you can play ColecoVision games on your 3DS.
JM.
You could. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you just got one. Well, it wasn't a 3DS. You got a DS to play it on.
Oh, DS. Yeah. When you
Yeah,
said
but
3D, I was
No,
thinking
works the same way.
yeah.
Except one's
And you
not in 3D.
Well, and you can
Yes.
play them on the Wii too. Because they have the emulator for the Wii. Hey,
They do.
speaking of the Coleco, I just want to say that for anybody listening to this or
Still
podcast
listening?
down the road is yeah, I just want to say that we need to keep supporting the home brewers out there, the 8-Bit Milli games, the Collector Vision, Opcode games,
Opcode.
and
Cody.
Cody Gamers over in France, and any other home brewers out there. We need to keep supporting them so they can keep creating great games for the 40-year-old ColecoVision system.
Absolutely. Cody's got,
agree.
what is it? Kazimoto coming out here shortly.
Yeah, did you get yours yet or no?
I know it hasn't. They haven't started shipping, but they
Oh, they haven't started shipping.
but
Okay.
they're definitely doing pre-orders right now. The graphics look absolutely
That
gorgeous on
game,
that game.
those graphics look unbelievable for that.
They're also doing what I thought was interesting is they're dipping their foot over in television hardware, and they're doing their own version of like a gamepad for the in television.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like turned sideways, and it looks like a Nintendo controller, and they're going to sell them both ways. So you can do left or right-handed, and they're making them work because and I don't know how much you know about the Intellivision, but the original Intellivision, the controllers are attached inside the system. With the Intellivision 2 and the Sears variant, they were DB9s.
Yeah.
So
right.
what Cody has done is they've made an adapter where you can use these new controllers with the original Intellivision system, which I think is
Oh,
pretty
cool.
Yeah.
Hey, we need to get them to do something for the Coleco. We need to.
Well, I want to laugh. So I introduced my son to the ColecoVision because I'm like, I've got a Donkey Kong. I actually have a Donkey Kong arcade machine in my office here. I love that game. I went to show my son the first one I played with. I fired up a ColecoVision for him. This is probably about 4 years ago. And he said, this is the worst control I've ever used, ever. So I handed him a 5200 and he said, okay, I'm wrong.
So
Yep.
wait, so the 5200 controller will work with
No,
Coleco?
no, it was just comparison.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
If you go out and you read about the worst controllers ever made,
Yeah.
the Coleco's in there. The Coleco's
Yeah.
in there, but the
Yeah.
5200 is by far, I don't think any of those controllers that you bought back then still work. Every one of them have had to be fixed in some way. I'm sure Millie will see a few of those come in if he ever went to the making games for the 5200, but every one of them failed. It was
Yeah.
worse than Red Ring of Death. There's easy
Wow.
fix to them. The fix isn't too bad. There's that guy in California that bought all the old Atari warehouses. He still makes a thing that you can buy to fix them. It's expensive, but they'll work. It's all replaces everything with gold pieces. It'll
What
work.
about the 7800 controllers?
Oh, those are back to 2600 style. Those are easy to repair.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Simple. I mean, they're just 2600 with 2 buttons.
Speaking of warehouses, I don't know if you guys saw that. I saw a thing online where a guy, I forget where it is. It's in the US, but I can't remember what state, but he has a warehouse full of 1 million sealed games for all types of systems. It was just he's sitting on a gold mine.
Oh yeah.
Sell those things.
He's
He's got a couple of Wizard of Id maths. Those are
I'm sure he does if he has 1 million. Problem is, a sealed one probably go for 1,000.
It'd go for more than I can get. I mean, let's face it. I've been married, 29 years. So I'm the CEO, but she's the CFO. Everything I buy over $100, I have to have a PO signed for.
Yeah, I got you.
The PO will not go for that price. I can just tell you.
You're gonna be like Mark. He's buying and selling. He's been doing a lot more selling lately than anything.
I see the hook is coming out. I see the hook is coming out.
Yeah. Hey, we need to do like a 40th anniversary meetup there for Coleco people. Get a bunch of people online.
Coleco anniversary is older than I am.
Well, I think Mark's site is almost at 2,000 members, isn't it?
About 1,700, yeah.
Yeah, he's getting
Nice.
close to 2,000. That's wow.
Yeah, I'm bringing a lot of people in. I'm a friend collector. I have about 2,700 friends now.
Nice.
Well, hold on.
Yeah,
I'll give you one less, Millie. Give me a second here.
Oh.
Hey, just like Mike post a link to the podcast. No,
Yeah, well,
And then
I'm a new member to a club. I post something and I get banned right off the bat. They don't even just take down my post. I love that. So
Yeah. I had one of my friends on Facebook told me that they wanted to post a review of Crazy Chickie on the Collector Vision page. And it got taken down, and the guy told him, he says, yeah, I took it down because I don't need the drama.
Ooh.
well,
I guess it must be fear.
you know,
You guys are talking about emulator. This is an emulator you can't get no more. This is an iPhone, and I have DOS Plus on it. Apple took it off the store in April, and I got DOS Plus running ColecoVision.
Oh, nice.
nice.
Or the Atom. It's actually the Atom emulator. I can, let me just, I'll show you.
What kind of
You can take your bump and jump to go.
phone is that, Millie?
iPhone, what is this? SE, I don't know what it is. It works.
Wow, that's amazing.
Let's see. I just want to show you this here. Oh, come on, I can't type right. Oh, I got to give it a disk image. Hang on a second. Just give me a second here.
Take your time. Yeah,
It's
I'd like to do it. I'd like to do another meetup so we can get some of these people and just shoot the breeze with a bunch
like
of
it.
folks that
that's how we met.
Yeah, that's how we
Yeah.
met.
Mike's driving back from. Where were you driving back from?
My dad was not doing real well, and so I went down to see them, and I was driving back to Charlotte from South Georgia, and
Yeah, and you had your phone on your right.
I had my phone on my Mazda. I just had it sitting on the steering wheel, and John's like, "You should probably turn off the video." Okay, whatever.
man.
It was fun. It was.
And I think you were the only one on, right?
I
just-
was.
He
I
was,
was.
yeah, he was the only one on. Yeah.
There we go.
But what was cool about that was, and we come back to the original thing on this, is talking about how great ColecoVision was and how much fun we had with it. Let's see it, Millie. Hey, Millie, you have to have the printer hooked up to that.
Bluetooth adapter.
Yeah, you gotta have the printer hooked up, or that Atom doesn't work.
I'm trying to type.
Hey, speaking of printers, is there a way to make any modern printers work with the Atom? No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
What,
I have,
really?
I have a parallel adapter, and you can use a serial adapter too. And I got a parallel adapter that plugs inside the Atom, and then I plug it into I got a 24 or 21 pin dot matrix printer that I print on.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
You
explain
can do it with
some-
you can do it with a serial card too.
I
If
was
you have-
thinking about a little bit more modern than that, than dot matrix.
if you have anything, that has a parallel port, you can plug it into it, or a serial
Okay.
port with a serial card. What it is you got to get a printer that has the brains in the printer. Most new printers now don't have the brains in the computer or in the printers. They're in the computer.
Right.
Talk to a
the
USB.
HP 4000s used to have all that on the back.
Yeah,
all
so you got to get one
parallel.
that if it has a printer plug, a Centronics 25 pin printer plug, it
It
should have
does.
brains in the computer or in the printer.
So what you're saying is you can't do parallel USB.
No.
So Millie, explain something to me that I haven't done a lot of research on it, but I saw that some people said to get memory to work on an Atom, to get extra memory to work on an Atom, you had to have a printer card and a memory expansion card.
Well, the Atom only takes 64K additional memory up to 128K. After
Okay.
that, you have to page it in because it only has the ability of paging in either 32K on the bottom or 32K in the top. So if you had together, it's 128K total, 64 internal, 64 external. To get more than that, you have to have a way of toggling to get extra banks to fit in that space. So what you have is you have a memory card that has 64K on it, or you can have a memory card that has up to 2 megabytes on it. But then you have the parallel card as an addresser card that sits next to it, and it just runs one little wire over. And what that does is that wire, you instead of just outputting to the port to select that bank, you have to output to the other port to select the page and then the bank. So you can page in up to 2 megabytes of memory using this addresser card.
But you're not going to need that for Joe the Eskimo.
No. 24K.
Yeah. No, I was reading about that because I was looking at, okay, what did they come out with for the Atom? I'm looking at this memory card.
Actually,
I was like, you gotta have this printer card along with it. I'm like, shit, by the time you buy all that, what the heck is all that?
So what are you gonna need for Joe the Eskimo? You're just gonna need the RAM board.
For the
Yeah, just the RAM
ColecoVision, yeah.
If you have ColecoVision.
this is a 2 megabyte memory card for the Atom. It had an issue with it when Mike made it for me, so he's making a new one. But this is a 2 megabyte. I stole the chips off because I use them for something else. But you would run your addresser card, would run a wire over to, where is it? To one of these jumper pins here. And that flips it on and off. It was a good idea that he designed, but it didn't work out perfectly. But
Interesting.
yeah, I had a 2 megabyte card from back in the 80s, and it just had stacks of 64K chips on it, like about that high, stacked on top of each other.
Wow.
And with just one pin, I think it was A15, is pulled off. It runs down to this one little chip, and that was selecting the different ones.
Wow.
What could you use it for? File Manager used it if you were copying discs, but since the disc is only 60K and the tape is only 250K, you don't need more than 256K. But I guess it's just bragging rights. Yeah, my Atom's got all this memory.
My Atom is bigger than your Atom.
Yeah.
Hey, the floppy disk drive that they sold, who made that? Was that Coleco?
Coleco made it, but it's fascinating. The internals are failed VIC-20 drives or 1541 drives.
Oh, really? From Commodore? Yeah.
They were failed
mechanisms. They didn't work right for Commodore, but they worked fine for them.
Oh, they worked. Oh, that's interesting. Huh.
So JC, what's the longest podcast you guys have done?
No. I think we're still under time for the longest. I think one time, maybe the second or third one, we went for like 2 hours and like maybe 2.5 hours. I do want to warn though that I don't know if anyone noticed my lights are flickering here in the house.
Power going out.
I got some storms rolling here, so if I disappear for like, I got some
If
bad
you
storms
disappear,
coming in.
we're stopped recording, so we're done.
No. John's got the reins here, so I'm just gonna like I'm about to get you can't see it, whatever.
No.
I'm about to get slammed, so
Hey, that
Okay,
you know
well,
that.
we can wrap it up. That's fine.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. This is
Before we go, after Mike and John left, I went back into the Toy Palooza and I got this.
no.
oh
My wife's.
Do you
my
sleep
wife
with that at night?
No, this is for my wife. My wife said, give me something Rainbow Bright. And I'm like, oh, what is Rainbow Bright? I remember that's it. So I'm walking around and the last thing I filmed is this tote and this is sitting in it. I said, okay, there's Rainbow Bright.
you know, Millie, there's a new Coleco did a Rainbow Bright of the little mini arcades.
I'm gonna be interviewing her soon. The new Coleco, if I can figure it out. I still got to figure out my system on how to record an interview. I don't want to use Zoom if I can.
So you're gonna talk to Chris Cordillo?
Oh no, not
Wait,
new Coleco, the other one.
Are you competing against us? Really? Is that what I'm hearing right now?
Well, Millie's got a studio set up.
There's a
now.
difference. It's not a podcast. It's an interview.
Wait, well, hold on. We do interviews.
Oh, well, then I'm gonna have to interview every one of you.
No.
Yeah, we could do
Sabotage.
that. We could do that.
Sabotage.
We could do that. We could talk. Yeah.
You don't want to you don't want to interview
Did
us.
you guys watch my video of the Toy Palooza and get nauseous? I didn't realize I didn't have stabilizer on my camera when I filmed it. And it is everywhere bouncing.
With this group, it was all the drinks that they had. It wasn't the stabilizer.
Yep. Yeah, the Toy Palooza, I liked it. As I said in the video, 15-year-old me would have loved it. All the Star Wars, but I'm just not into that no more.
Was 15-year-old you the one that dressed as Boy George?
No, that was 18-year-old me.
Okay, it's a few years out.
18-year-old me was the one that made his own Millennium Falcon because I didn't have the money to buy one, so I made one out of wood.
Hey, this is just a thought, but I think you're gonna do well at the Cleveland thing in September.
Gaming Classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a table for that, Millie?
I haven't got it yet. I am debating if I'm
Dude,
going to have any
they-
material. to
Well,
sell.
they just sold out of the normal
Oh.
tables, and
Oh, then
no. They just opened more.
Yeah, because I got it
So-
here, but I'm debating. Am I going
Do
to
it.
have any product to
Do it.
sell in September?
Make the product.
Hey, make up some flyers. We'll pass them out for you as we're walking around.
I
No,
might.
shh.
I might go.
It's
driving up-
it's at the IX Center at the airport. It's the
Uh-huh.
largest convention center in Ohio.
Yeah, the guy that runs it, whatever his name is again. What was his name? Can you put his name on here?
I don't think so. Is there?
Well, just for reference, it was in a hotel. It was in a hotel last year, and it's now this big event.
It's what, over 85,000 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Tom Jenkins. That's what his name was. Yeah, he-
85,000.
Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, we're looking forward to
Talked
that.
me about
Yeah.
skinning a game for the show next year. Having to
Hey,
be a special edition for the show.
If you don't end up having a booth or a table and you still want to go, let me know. We can
Me and
ride
John
up
are
together
going.
if you want.
You
Yeah,
gonna go, John? You're going, John. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm going, yeah.
Yeah, but both Johns and me are going.
I live
Yeah,
here.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's interesting that they are all a la carte. You pay for the booth and then you pay for all the extras. I don't know if I want to. I need electricity this time like I did last time. I
You
had
pay for,
electricity. I
you
wanted
pay
to
for
let-
electricity. What if you have to go to the bathroom? You got to pay for that too.
Might.
Well, hey, no, you know what? I think
Friggin'
your little display, your monitor display thing is great advertisement for you. You know,
I like that
you
little
had
thing.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was.
I
That's why I
mean,
bought the
that-
space game. When I saw it on the screen, that's why I bought it.
Everybody was like, "What's this game like?" I said, "Well, just wait a
Wait
minute."
yeah, no, that was a great idea. I think you need to have that showing if you're gonna go to this one.
I agree, and
Definitely.
I think
I was stuck next to the Nintendo guys at the last show, and they were all like hovering over my thing, trying to look over each other's shoulder to see the cartridges, and it's like, off the monitor.
Yeah, watch the monitor.
I think
Yeah.
really, I think we should need more Virix is what we need.
Yeah, I heard that.
I'm sure you have. Probably for me.
When as I'm working on Joe the Eskimo here, I was realizing that the vast majority, I'd say like 90%, 95% or thereabouts of all the ColecoVision games are arcade style games. There is no platformers.
That's true.
And then,
Yeah, that's
Or
why you
hockey
need a
games.
that's why you need a hockey game.
That's
That's
why you need a
right.
hockey game.
Yeah, maybe I'll make an Easter egg. Hockey game will be in Joe the Eskimo.
Well, you could, you know what? If Joe the Eskimo is successful,
Well, it could be because Joe the Eskimo is going to be on ice.
but it could be Joe the Eskimo sequel. It could be Joe the Eskimo plays hockey.
Yeah,
Right.
or it's a
And
He's
he
mini-
up
could
in
be- he could be-
Alaska.
He could be with his friend,
We're debating
be with his friend Colin the Canadian, and they could play hockey.
we're debating if his sidekick is going to be a seal or a penguin. My wife wants it to be a penguin, but there's no penguins on the North Pole.
No, but
Seal,
that's
because you have
what-
to be able to club them.
Yeah.
What about a moose?
No moose.
No
The moose-
moose?
The moose don't live on the ice.
You should have a little side game in there where it's a whack a seal, like instead of whack-a-mole, whack a seal.
Like a moose.
I could get to an empty field and Joe has to play hockey against the seal.
There you go. The seal could be the goalie.
Or,
would be
or
a
Joe,
bait.
Joe could walk up and there could be somebody standing there and he says, "Hi, my name's Mike. Let's play hockey."
There you go.
It's an Easter egg.
Only if you have a certain score. If you
and-
don't have a score, then he doesn't talk to you.
And the guy that the character that looks like Mike will look like Mike.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or
Yeah.
sort of.
Sort of. Well, I mean, you don't have to put any hair, so
Less
Hey.
graphics.
it makes it real easy.
Mhm.
Any new games for the ColecoVision is I'm in. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's a nice market. It's a nice little niche. It seems to be paying for itself. I'll stick around.
I still think you need a game called The Entity.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Grey Castle has that in there. Eventually. Maybe I'll put it in Virix. Because in Virix, you got to clean you're shooting the viruses off of people's faces. I can always digitize a certain entity's face.
I'm expecting Virix by like November. So
It'll come out. Don't worry.
I'm starting.
Pressure on you.
I told you at the last show that I'm starting a petition for Virix. I'm doing it.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Joe the Eskimo won that petition.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
I did
fake
put it up
news.
for a vote.
Yeah, people cheated. Fake news.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna start my own. I'm gonna make a bunch of fake accounts. Wait a minute. I just gave myself away, but
and then join Twitter.
and then
I can make a Virix mode of Joe the Eskimo. Then it turns into the Matrix and it's just like falling green program in there. Joe's running around in there. It's not the same.
It's not the same. My heart's breaking.
You know, it would be a fun game. Is have you guys ever seen the obscure movie Kung Pao Enter the Fist,
Yeah.
where the guy took the old the old Hong Kong movies and put himself in it? A game like that for the ColecoVision, where you have, because none of the voices, I can't do voices anyways, but just kind of a bad kung fu game for the ColecoVision.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
Was there ever a fighting game for?
Chuck Norris. So no. If you played Chuck Norris, you would say the same thing. No, I think Collector Vision did one of the kung fu games, but the Chuck Norris game was awful.
Can you port the really bad like karate champions from Nintendo over to the CV?
He doesn't like the word port.
Yeah, I don't like the word. I
Okay.
like remake.
All right. Can you transfer? Can you chauffeur?
Program.
Can you
Program.
Bring it.
Bring it.
Bring it.
Mhm. From the Super Nintendo, it'd be kind of hard.
no, I think it was the original Nintendo. Actually, I think it was an arcade game first, and it's really bad.
The
it's real
CPU
bad.
is totally different. It's a 6502 versus a Z80, so that kills you. You'd do better off trying to pull over some of the original Game Boy games over because they were Z80 based. They ran on a Z80 style chip.
Blades of
All right,
Steel Hockey
give me-
was out for
Give
the.
me
Game
Pokemon.
Boy.
I want Pokemon in the ColecoVision.
I thought of doing that.
Did you really?
I thought of doing one like that, and I thought, maybe not.
But you'd have to call it something else, like Woman or something.
Yeah, it's possible.
ColecoMon.
You're just, I don't know if you heard that noise there, but let me show you something real fast. You're talking about you can't get the ColecoVision to talk it can talk. This is right here. It's
Oh
saying,
yeah.
it was saying we got you.
That's what I thought it was saying.
There was a
It's
game.
like I was ordering at Burger King or something.
There was a game called Dung Beetles. It was similar to Pac-Man where you rolled around a beetle collecting dung, and it was on the color computer, I believe it was.
Well, my MC would know that one. He knows Coco.
But that is what I was working on at one time. And I was learning how to make it talk. the ColecoVision, but it uses so many CPU cycles just to get that rough "we got you."
Can you get it to stay nerdy, my friends?
I don't know, probably not.
What was
You,
There
you,
was
just-
the-
you need to make one of these for the ColecoVision. It's just a speech. This is for the color computer, but it's a speech thing. It talks.
There was one for the ColecoVision that's supposed to be getting made at one time. It was using the Texas Instruments speech synthesizer in it. But
What
I
was-
guess
This is a speech and sound pack that you can use on the color computer.
Well, hey,
Oh.
there was that one game. Was it Space Fury where the opening screen, the guy talked?
Yeah, but they didn't port the talking. But you're right. That the original arcade game did that.
No, I thought it did on the Coleco.
No,
It
it just said it in text across the bottom. That's how
Oh,
they
okay.
cheated. They cheated because
Okay.
that was one of my
it's hard to do it on the ColecoVision because you got to use the CPU to actually trigger the speaker up and down to get the sound. You're not using the sound chip at all. You just volume up, volume down. And doing that, you can't do anything else but that. That's what I was trying to get this thing to talk and do something else besides that. And you really can't make it do anything but just that.
Is that why Opcode added the sound chip on the Super Game module? Is to get around?
But that doesn't do speech. That's
But-
just.
but-
the
Well,
reason
Then how's he doing? I mean, he does speech with Wizard of War.
they're doing cycles also.
Okay.
They do the same thing. If you tinker with it enough, you may be able to do better with the AY chip because it's a slightly better chip. Maybe you can get, because with the SN chip that's inside the ColecoVision, you can only do 1-bit sound, which basically on off. So since you can only do either on or off, you got to vary the frequency by how fast you're doing on and off. So what is that? That's not amplitude modulation. It's one of them, maybe frequency or whatever. But what I believe with the AY chip that's in the Super Game module, you can get 2 or maybe even 4-bit in it. So you can get you can actually get some frequencies in your bit sample. So you can make the AY chip talk somewhat. It's still scratchy. There's another game that's getting written that's supposed to have some speech in it, and I know the programmer's having issues trying to get it to talk. I won't say much more than that, but it's going to be coming out. It's supposed to be coming out really soon now. I think some company that sounds like ColecoVision.
Virix.
They've been teasing it, but haven't been teasing it publicly. That's
Listen,
all.
Millie, you and I are gonna be like head to head until I get Virix. So
Okay.
That's hilarious. Well, Millie, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to interview us one by one then in your podcast. Well, interview to get around him bringing up Virix.
I'll come out with Virix, and John will say, well, "I don't have a ColecoVision."
No. What you'll do is you'll come out with Virix and ban him from getting it.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
He'll become the entity number 2.
Well,
Yeah,
why don't
he's
you just
harassed, you know?
why don't you just change Eskimo Joe to Virix and just and then it's gone. He'll never know the difference.
Virix the Eskimo.
that sounds like a futuristic cyberpunk fairy tale. I like it. That's a good concept.
You know, and Virix the Eskimo at that point could be like Mega Man.
Yes. Yeah.
And you could make a Mega Man, but he's on ice. I mean,
And all you gotta do is give him a stick, and
you play hockey.
yeah, there you go.
And you could talk to a guy named Mike that all he wants to do is play hockey on his ColecoVision.
All right. We've
Guys.
come to the end.
Yeah, we're getting punchy now. So,
Yeah.
We've come to the
but
end.
he's on his 4th energy drink there. I saw
It's not
it.
working anymore.
It's not working anymore.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Techegy podcast. Thank you for joining in.
Oh, the end is
And
near. And
As
so
we
I
all
think the final curtain.
Da, da, da. As all of us at Techegy say,
As what we say, not in a shy way.
stay nerdy,
Nerdy,
my
my
friends. This is the worst podcast we've ever done ever.